The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
If you're building or buying or selling a home, the Real Estate Crew's got news for you at the Real Estate House Party.
With attorney Rick Carter,
Real Estate House Party.
paralegal Kathy Holtshouser,
Real Estate House Party. Come in, have fun.
and comedian Tony V. Now, here's real estate attorney Rick Carter.
Welcome and thanks for joining us here on the Real Estate House Party.
I'm out of here.
I have a feeling, Ed Sullivan, all the prep we've done for the show, this is going to go beautifully.
First of all, Tony,
Smashing.
you really have changed your look.
Yeah, I'm
You
looking
do.
good, right?
Yeah,
you
you're
look-
looking. Yeah.
Going into
He's been trying to
2020 with a
lose-
bang. So.
He's been trying to lose a little weight. I didn't know he'd lose 100 pounds
I
since last
know,
week.
and
Yeah,
then turn into a girl.
Big things happening over here.
Kathy, that's not actually Tony.
Oh,
Oh, it's not?
No, he left a message for you all.
oh, he did?
Really? We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I think he explains where he is.
Let's
in
see
his
it.
message.
Go ahead.
I'm curious.
You can't see it; you can just hear it.
Oh, okay.
Tony's kind of.
Oh, so this
Okay.
isn't
That's
Tony.
fun.
This is Kim
Okay.
from KLH Staging. I've heard.
Yeah, and she's going to put up with our shenanigans all day, so.
Right.
Here's Tony's message
All
for
right.
you.
Let's hear
Here's
it.
Tony's message.
Hey, everybody, it's Tony V. And sorry I'm not at the real estate house party right now.
Oh.
It's called Better Things to Do.
Hey,
It's so sad, Tony.
Hey.
We've replaced you anyway.
We got Kim here.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's
So
good.
Tony,
Kim's permanent now.
Kim's permanent now.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
The seat's warm.
The
you
seat's
know?
warm.
Yep.
Well, it was kind of lukewarm,
Well,
right?
Tony, in Tony's defense, something better to do is 30 minutes of stand-up in Aruba
Right.
once a night. He has to wear pants and shoes, but
Tony joined though.
Huh?
He's on Facebook now.
Is he on
Oh, he
Facebook
is?
now?
Hey.
All right, so we got to explain to. So Tony, we thought it'd be a funny idea to have a picture of Tony with us.
Oh, wonderful.
He says I had a better idea.
it was a great
It was a
idea.
great, he says I have a
until we
bust made
saw
of
it.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
So we said that would be a great idea. It doesn't look like anything like our Tony V. And
It's
it
actually
looks
kind of creepy. What's his
Even
doll?
better,
What's his
even
doll's name?
Oh, he does have his own doll.
Oh, come
Jackie?
on! Oh, Jackie.
I think.
It looks like
Tony has his own little friend that we're starting to think is not is a real person at this point.
No, it's
keeps
his real
appear-
friend.
It keeps appearing like you see him driving down the car and you see in the back seat and there's this
Is it little
friend.
Jackie?
It's a little. Well, no,
Is it
that's
so
his,
we can use the carpool lane? Is
Yeah.
that the method behind it?
No, I don't know what the method
I like
is.
Kim. You
behind
like
it, but-
Kim?
Yeah.
It's all of our
Yeah.
prep time with Kim. There.
Yeah. You know, I got here a whole 30 seconds before we sat up here. So I'm
Well,
It's good
I only
'cause
got
Kathy
here 45.
Good,
seconds
good.
beforehand.
Perfect,
so,
perfect,
so we got
right.
a lot to talk about.
Tony says he's a little creepy.
We love you, Tony, and we do miss you.
We do miss Tony. Tony called me today and he almost felt guilty. I said, "How are you
You should
doing?"
feel guilty, Tony.
I said, "How are you doing?" He wanted to come up with something bad. He says, "Everything's great."
oh, wonderful. You couldn't even fake it. Awesome.
Well, I think
Perfect.
his family is down there with him or
Oh,
something.
It's
So
endearing.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
what he told you? Tony, maybe Tony can chime in. I don't think
I
his
don't
family,
think they are.
unless you call Christine Hurley his family.
Oh,
Bobby
I thought
Kelly.
he said that. I thought he said that everybody was flying in for Christmas or something.
Yeah, to Charlestown, and he booked it out of here to Aruba.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting game plan there. Oh, I'm learning a lot about
See
this
where-
Tony fellow as the day goes on. Oh.
Have you ever seen Tony? You're gonna
No,
have to
but
see
something
Tony.
tells me I don't even need to. You're
No,
really just
no.
creating a
He's
vision
in the
for
movie The
me.
Heat.
Okay.
Do you know that movie with
Yeah, yeah.
Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy?
We should have brought his bust in.
Yeah,
you would have known
really,
him
I
very
think
well
I would have
after seeing his-
enjoyed that.
Right,
yeah.
right. But it was a creepy old man that looked like, well,
Maybe if we put a Santa hat on him or something, that
yeah,
would
all
have.
right.
Yeah.
Maybe
Be more
for the- maybe
approachable. Yeah.
So you're a state. Am I getting this right because of our prep time? I wanted to make sure. Now that's a big difference between an interior designer, right? Because an interior designer, you come in and help a person who wants to live
There
in the house.
is definitely a difference. One sort of makes you have to care about people's opinions a little bit.
And the other one, you need to ignore everyone's
Wait,
opinions,
that's
right?
interior decorator,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
No,
Yeah,
that's a
I mean,
good
which
way.
is a whole other ball of wax.
Right.
And we do dabble a little bit in that, but staging is different in that what you're really dealing with is trying to make the house appeal to everyone. It really has nothing to do with what you want or what you.
So you want
know.
is neutral.
And it doesn't matter. The
Yeah.
seller's opinion does not matter. matter to
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
You actually want to ignore the seller's opinion, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Unless
Now,
they're a stager.
do sellers get upset when you like want to throw out their couch? And
Definitely. There's sort of some people have watched a lot of TV and they're ready to go. Other people can't wrap their head around why a chair needs to go in this corner instead of this way, or, they can't figure out, this is so lovely, this room, I've used it this way my whole life. I can't imagine why it needs to be another bedroom or it needs to be a dining room.
Or the furniture just has to go.
Oh, yeah. They can't wrap. I would say it's almost 50-50 with whether people can kind of immediately jump on board with what we're talking about or not.
We might have to stage Tony's house then. We've talked about this before.
Why?
I don't know. I'd love to see you just staging Tony's house or as an interior decorator.
I'd really like to see her come in and stage my house.
No, it's funny.
Can we rent to own?
Yeah, no. A lot of times we'll go through a property, and by the end, people are like, "Why haven't I been living like this the whole time?" And I wish I'd done this from the get-go.
You probably get people like that, and some people are completely opposite. Like, I would never live like this.
Oh, yeah.
And your statement probably is, well, we're not here to keep you happy. We're here to sell your
house.
Well,
the point of staging, it doesn't really look that comfortable.
No, and sometimes it feels almost a little sterile. I mean, we try to find that happy medium between.
It's almost like you're living in a hotel.
Yeah,
like you pick a couch that you can't possibly think about sitting on to watch a football game, or laying on, or taking a
lounging,
nap,
exactly. And that's sort of how we buy furniture for our business as well. Is it's definitely looks better than it is
comfortable.
Yeah,
right.
No, definitely.
What's your favorite store?
I buy a lot online. Wayfair, CB2, I love their stuff.
Have you been into Home Sense yet?
I haven't. Some of the girls have taken a trip, but there's going to be one coming in locally in the Woburn area that I'll probably be at all the time.
Related to that, so if because I'm thinking of becoming a stager.
I'm sure.
I might retire because I just think I have that.
Nice segue from.
No, I have that flair.
Is that how you're going to come out and tell us? is that what this podcast is about? That like we don't have jobs anymore unless we have a flair for decorating.
What were we talking about the other day? Ed Sullivan, you like this when we used to fire people. I used to do it.
Not when you.
Right. I'd ease the pain and bring in like some champagne and chicken ziti broccoli from my favorite restaurant. I'd bring that in.
And if you're a longtime employee,
so you
and
put
you
them in
saw
a food
that,
coma.
Yes,
you saw that stuff coming into the conference room. You knew that somebody's head was on the chopping block.
It's almost like your last dinner.
Make it me, please.
Volunteer.
Don't listen to that. No, I hope I listen to that. She's just kidding when she says that. She loves her job.
I'm not sure anyone enjoyed their meal.
I don't think
just
that
eating
people,
anxiety.
It was a group of people that probably hadn't experienced the chicken broccoli ziti. I, on the other hand,
knew what it was about.
Knew it.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
exactly.
how does it end? Rick says, you may excuse yourself now.
Well.
All right, no, I'm not getting firing people, but if I started my own job of staging, I've always wanted to know, how do you do this? Do you buy your own furniture, and then how does it work?
Yeah, I mean, you can do it one of two ways. You can either own all your stuff, or you can use a third-party rental company for like a lot of the big stuff, the sofas, the tables. And there's a couple of companies that do service this area.
What do you do?
I own my own furniture.
All right, so let me ask you. So what furniture, what do you buy?
I know, the white rug with the gray through it.
Oh, yes.
With the matching, right.
Yep.
This is home and all that. Yeah, exactly. So do you buy, so everything's kind of very neutral, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want really flashy, mahogany. I mean, what do you have in you have a warehouse
We have a full range of stuff because it really depends on where you're staging the property. Obviously, when you're staging in more a suburban market versus, the high-end city or like funky places like Jamaica Plain, you can kind of get away with some more graphic stuff, some brighter stuff. We like to keep a lot of the basic stuff neutral and then accent with color and then use that as sort of the tell-all for where you are.
So most of your furniture is neutral, but you bring in some rugs, maybe a little bit.
Rugs, pillows, plants, artwork. You easily can switch out the artwork and pillows and totally transform the space.
Yeah.
You gotta really know your market and your audience though when you're putting up some sort of artwork. What you would like as artwork. I don't know. You know what I mean? So.
And it depends on the room. If the room's been, upgraded and painted a white or a cream or a neutral color, it just I guess it depends on the room too.
Yeah, and you want it to speak to the function of the space too. Like you don't want a picture on the wall of somebody sitting in a bathtub in a bedroom. Like it just doesn't really make any sense. Like no, it just like
You're going to have to move that.
a rhyme and a reason to some of it.
The monkey's playing poker out.
Yeah,
Is that in the
like maybe that doesn't go in the kitchen. Like maybe
Elvis.
that goes in the basement. You'd be surprised at the simple kind of advice we have to give people just to get ready for.
Also, when you're staging, do you take part in the clearing out of the room, or like how do you prepare a seller so that you can come in and do your job? So it's ready for
our job. Yeah. So
we always think that the basics are to declutter everything. Maybe.
But what does that mean? Like, what does that mean?
Well, everyone has a different. Yeah. Everyone has a different.
Well, I would get rid of the mail. I wouldn't have anything that's personalized. I would get rid of all that stuff. I would get rid of. Well, decluttering means first of all get everything out of there.
Well, my broker told me to declutter, and honestly, I don't have a lot of clutter, but I went through and I literally took down all picture frames off, surfaces, and put everything in boxes. And my husband came home and he said,
"Where are we right now?"
He said,
"Right."
He said to declutter, honey. Like I'm packing too.
You're like, we're out of here. I mean, you can go about it a number of different ways. That's certainly a great approach to things. The more you get, everything has to go eventually.
Yeah.
So, and if you're going to have someone come in and stage and supplement anyways, the more that you clear out, really, the better it is for that person.
Right.
They might. What I always like to do is start with a consult where I literally room by room tell you, like, pack this up, pack that up, keep this. We want to stage with this.
Okay.
We want to stage.
So you're
with
an
that.
organizer too.
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, we kind of tell you like what stays, what goes, and
do people listen?
If you want your house to sell, you should. Yeah.
Right.
So you tell
but
people,
do they listen?
But I mean, I would say 75% of the time people get everything.
Well,
done.
they're paying for it, right?
Well, exactly.
So,
if you want to get your money's worth out of it, I mean, we're not just telling you to do stuff to do stuff. You know,
Right.
it's there's a reason behind everything.
So what do you tell them? To pack it, donate it,
put it in the pod, put it in the garage, put it in the basement. What's its home? Is it coming with you? If it's not, get rid of it.
A lot of people get storage units and things.
A lot of people get storage units. The pods, the things that you can transport are great because it's literally right outside your door. Dumpsters, I always recommend getting a dumpster.
yeah.
If you've been living in your house longer than 5 years, get a dumpster.
and you'd be amazed how fast that thing fills up.
Because you get rid of stuff that it's just inconvenient to get rid of, so you just don't. And the
Right.
second you have a trash can that's so large right on your front door, you get rid of all kinds of stuff.
All right, so some of the basics you gotta depersonalize.
Yep.
You can't have anything that shows your identity in the property. I would imagine.
And, I've heard
just
some
try to
people
pare it down some. You don't have to
religious
stuff.
items.
Well, you don't want your picture of your kids on the walls, I imagine, because you want that family coming in thinking that that's their house,
Right.
not the present owner's house.
Yeah.
So do they listen to you on that stuff?
Yeah, and I try to find a happy medium with things too, because if you're living in a home with your family, I get that we're asking
Kim's
a lot of
very
you.
low key. She's not going to come in and.
I try not to be a bull here.
Don't even interrupt her while she's speaking.
Don't listen to her. Don't listen to her.
But no, we got
his hand in my face.
When we used to do a radio show, we used to have a rule because we all would out talk each other. At the end, we would say, "All right, if you want to talk, you got to put your hand up." So all the four of us would just keep putting our hands up
like this. You could do this all day.
Yeah, I left mine up.
It doesn't get a lot. It doesn't get you very far.
Right.
So that rule didn't work. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry. What were we even talking about? Yeah.
So I want to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
So if you give your furniture to a seller,
yes,
and like say the house stays on the market for 60 days or whatever, does everyone take care of your stuff? Or
it's funny that you say that. I definitely walk into some scenarios worrying a little bit, but for the most part, people take better care of our stuff than they do any of their own stuff. Clearly, because I would say the one thing that's sometimes an unknown is pets.
Right.
People can't have their eyes on them at all times.
I just had a broker say that to me. She
it's tough.
dropped off all her new stuff to this guy who's been living in his house as a bachelor. He's now in his 60s, and the only thing he has his cat.
Yeah.
So she was nervous about leaving.
Well, plus they're eating spaghetti on the couch, watching football.
Not the most careful sometimes.
Right. That would give me really high anxiety.
Yeah, but most people with small children, they're so nervous about the stuff getting ruined that I always give people like large trash bags and stuff too. Throw the soft goods in there if you want, like in between showings and whatnot, so you don't have to stress as much about having the stuff out.
So back to my idea about starting my staging company. So, do you have like a warehouse? And
I do, yeah. So much stuff.
So you have like 5 or 6 different rooms, or I'm just curious about this.
Our warehouse is kind of one main big room, and there's like 2 smaller rooms. One's got art in it, one's got pillows, and then otherwise it's sort of like a big open space, big garage bay door.
How long does it take you to make a decision on a house? Like you walk in, like. Are you talking a couple hours of being in the house? You know what you want to put in?
Oh, no. I mean, we kind of, it's funny that you say that. As time goes on, it depends on how much is in inventory. If the less inventory in, the faster you kind of have to make a decision because you don't have as much to choose from. Sometimes it's actually harder when you have more in stock to be like, just where do I even begin?
Which one do I go with?
You know, what sofa do I start with? You know, that kind of thing. We can plan out a project, though, pretty quickly. I have a team. There's 5 of us. So if all of us kind of hone in on a house and pick a room, we can have that thing planned out in 30 to 45.
Boy, that sounds like a really fun job.
It's sort of like market sweeps when you're like going about planning because everyone's like pulling for product and trying to get the good stuff and, you know.
Now, don't take that as a comment. Every person comes on, she applies for a
like,
job
that's great. I'm looking for a career change.
Every person who's come on, we've had a mover. She wanted to be a mover a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Am I right?
Yeah.
So,
I wanted to be an organizer.
You wanted to be an organizer 1 week ago.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
I want to be everything but a real estate paralegal at Carter Law Office.
That's all right. I got some
working out well.
I got some chicken ziti and broccoli coming down later on. Don't worry about it.
The good news is 2020, a new decade's on its way in.
Oh yeah.
So
2020.
Goals.
Yeah.
Is it easier for you to do empty houses or?
I was going to ask that same question. You stole that from me.
Shucks.
So the question is valid if I say it?
No, go ahead. I want the answer.
You know, it depends. If you get a really great client in an occupied home, like that makes that experience just helping somebody out that you really just connect with. On the other hand, vacant homes are empty pallets. You can really just do whatever you want with it, and that's kind of fun in a different type of way. So it depends on if I'm feeling like a people person that day or not, really.
So who are your clients? The real estate agents or actual sellers?
Both real estate agents, sellers, contractors. I work with a lot of just actual developers who aren't necessarily married to a particular real estate agency. They kind of depends on what market they're building their project in.
Yeah, and you do the model home?
Mm-hmm.
That must be a fun one.
We actually just did a really fun one in Jamaica Plain that was really kind of eclectic and sort of modern, which is different than some of the suburban stuff that we do.
So after they have the house staged, they should probably do a 3D, like a Matterport.
A lot of people do that,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
right after the fact.
Yeah.
All right, let me throw these out because I just got these off, and I don't agree with a lot of these.
Yeah.
So they're talking about staging and also staged photos, things like that.
Sure.
This guy said a no-no is not including a pet in at least one of your staged photos.
I mean, if you don't have a pet, don't pretend to have one. That's weird.
Or maybe
That's
you can
so
get
weird.
one for Christmas.
That's so weird.
Come here, Scruffy.
And to be honest, a lot of times if I see pet stuff out, it's one thing like we tell you to hide it.
I would think you'd want to get rid of it
because people have allergies and people can be weird walking into houses and
did they pee on the hardwood floors?
Or just like, I'm allergic, so this house is just gonna have it's in the walls. You know, I can't possibly adapt. People can be crazy.
So I didn't really agree with that one.
I don't know that I prescribe to that myself.
Yeah,
not having a theme for each room.
It's not about a theme. It's more of a what's the purpose of the space. Theme isn't the right word. I think rooms have to be defined.
I don't like
to be
theme
defined.
rooms.
Right.
Like,
no, that's weird. Like we're in the Florida
you would think
room.
You would
like,
not want any theme.
Exactly. I think that's
like
just
if
the
you're
wrong
not
word.
on the Cape, you're not doing.
It's not a beach theme.
Yeah.
Like what are we doing here? Get the seashells out of here.
Yeah.
Like, we're not,
So you shouldn't have a Star Trek room.
Right. Exactly.
No.
Probably
Well,
not.
you can.
Okay.
Exactly.
Because you're not selling your house, so you can get away with it. Hopefully not.
Like
Maybe by the end of this.
Some people do like a wilderness room. You're in the heart of the city, like you're not in Lincoln, New Hampshire, or whatever. So I don't really like that.
All right, here's another mistake that he says: pushing all the furniture right up against the wall.
I totally agree with that.
That
yeah,
one-
that's
that
a
one
weird,
sounds
that's,
right.
It just kind of boxes the room out,
Right,
like
right.
you wouldn't believe. And just in general, don't have all the walls lined with furniture. Like in addition to
Oh,
that,
right.
goodness.
that really
I
starts
better change one of my rooms.
This one says definitely a no-no is a gendered bedroom or playroom, which is true.
That happens all the time.
I think it's
doesn't it?
fine.
Yeah.
I would.
You
I
think
don't
it's
know
all
that
right?
yeah,
All
because
right.
the next person's gonna maybe
gonna
their
paint.
Yeah, or their bedding's not gonna be pink
Or
blue
they
or,
just have a 2-year-old daughter,
And it's
they
fine.
have a pink room,
Right,
and they're
right,
like-
right.
and that might make them
want
buy
to
the
live
house.
there. Exactly, it invokes an emotion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, let me just throw a bunch of stuff out. Yes
Great.
or no?
Okay.
Dog and cat food, put away.
Yes.
If there is a small room, replace the queen side bed with a smaller bed. That seems to make sense. So you don't want it taking,
Yeah, I mean, if a
engulfing the
room
whole
is
floor.
completely eaten up by an entire bed, definitely put a smaller bed in there. Yes.
The welcome doormat gone.
Is it dirty?
No, they're just saying yeah.
I like
I kind of like a nice mat.
Yeah.
Around in New England, maybe I don't know where this list comes from.
Oh, I
Right.
just make this stuff up.
okay,
Get rid of the
okay.
mouse traps. I
Yes,
think we can agree on that
definitely.
one.
Yeah.
Yep.
well,
Add the stager might want to add fresh flowers.
Yes.
All right.
The stager might.
I love this. We'll get back to some of those. Emotional staging.
Yes, that's very
What's that?
important.
I love
What is
emotional
that?
So,
staging.
See, I think you're
staging.
ready to open
So-
up your own
I am.
company.
Yeah.
Do you have available
Done some
spot there?
research. I was just going to say, spring
you?
market
Me
is
too.
right around the corner. And
Can you hire
you're
me
always
first before
hiring.
her,
Okay,
or
we'll
she
see
won't-
how
she
it works
won't-
out.
We come as a package.
All right. Can you hire us both? Is that
We
fair?
fight a lot.
Awesome.
We
You guys
fight
can
a
drive the
lot.
truck together then.
Oh, imagine us driving the truck together.
I'm not driving the truck with you.
It's really a big van. You can. It's
Tell the time you broke your foot, and nice guy that I am, because you can probably tell I'm the more
you
nicer.
seem approachable.
Right, exactly. So I said, Kathy, she lived about literally like 5 minutes. I said, listen, I'll come up and pick you up at your house.
Because you didn't want me to miss work.
I didn't want. Well,
Oh, nice.
Well, there is a
no
little
work from
motive.
home for you, I guess.
No.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll come and pick you up. So she says, oh, that's so nice. So I picked her up first day, fought the whole way. It was literally 5 minutes. We lasted 2 days.
That's how long you were able to carpool for?
And I said, forget it. I'm driving with my other foot.
I can't. Yeah, I'm just gonna figure it
My
out.
left, yeah, I
sure,
thought, yeah.
She goes, I don't know. Every time I'm in the car with you, I hear a lot of sirens in the background. I don't know what that's all about. So, all right. So if we have to drive the trucks together, that's all right.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
But
As long as you can stop and get my coffee.
Perfect.
Right,
yeah, no,
right.
that's fine. I'm totally okay.
all
with
right.
coffee
So I have
beans.
done a lot of research on emotional staging.
Let's hear what that is.
Yeah.
So emotional staging, well, the regular staging you hear about is the physical, putting in a nice rug, changing the furniture
Mm-hmm.
around. Emotional staging is maybe putting a nice pie in the oven, so you can,
smell it, yeah.
it's wafting through the house.
So
Right.
you shouldn't be vaping
That homey
CBD
vibe.
products
Well, I mean,
upstairs.
it depends on the demographic you're going
See, we're not
for.
staging your house right now, and that's the reason. It's the holidays. She doesn't normally do it.
Stressful.
It's very stressful.
I
lot.
do not vape CBD.
No, you don't. You just eat Gumby beers.
No, I
That's just how
don't.
Tastier. It's fine.
She didn't seem to object. All right. So, do you get into the emotions, or is that a little bit too much?
So, I kind of draw the emotional
Okay.
staging. I kind of sort of left for the real estate agents. So we kind of put
Okay.
the hard stuff in place,
Okay.
and we
Okay.
we try to create the emotion with some of the stuff we are bringing in. Of
Right.
course, when
Yeah.
you go into the bathroom, we want it to feel spa-like. But if the candles are being lit, I'm not lighting them.
Right.
You know, the real estate agent kind of takes that to that next level.
Okay.
If they want it to be,
All right. I'll give you some examples of emotional staging.
sure, yeah.
A romantic evening in front of the fireplace. Mini
So they'll light the fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Are
they
the,
have.
are the homeowners still there?
Yeah, but they don't have their
Glasses of
spouses.
wine, yeah.
It's the agent and the seller. Only kidding.
Only kidding. Sitting down to a home cooked meal. They'll have the settings all taken care.
Yeah, table settings.
Table
Yep.
settings,
We'll
all
do
right.
that sometimes.
with
Yeah.
the glass topped tables because they make the room look a little larger.
Yes, I have
All
lots
right.
of those.
Do
yeah.
you?
I do. Yeah.
What, tabletop what?
Glass
Well,
top
they
tables.
glass,
Oh.
so it looks like the room is a lot bigger.
It does?
Yes,
Well, it just sort of especially in tighter spaces, it can kind of make it feel a little more airy.
Oh.
You know?
This is why we're going to have her drive the truck. Okay.
Perfect.
You and me will take care of the motioning part.
Oh, I've been dumped so fast.
An evening relaxing at home with a good book. So they'll have the staged book beside
Yeah, so
it.
we'll put a book on the little stand next
so
to the
okay,
chair.
all
Yeah,
right.
these are some.
Little-
these are
little
emotional
pair of
touch points. We
glasses.
Yeah,
definitely
with the classy
yeah.
books in Yeah, business bestsellers sitting around,
Yeah.
right? Because we all read those at home, right?
Yes.
Or the festive family events with the fresh flowers, nice relaxing music, and pleasant.
Yes.
That actually could get you in trouble too. You have to have a really generic music.
Well, it's just the no words, classical,
like the,
jazz,
Like if I heard like Eric
it's-
Clapton or the Eagles, I'd
No,
buy
no,
that
that's
house
not-
right away.
That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about like spa music.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, very generic music.
Yeah.
So elevator music and all
Exactly.
that. But I'm
elevator
saying if it
music.
was me and I heard the
you
good
would want
Eagles
that,
tune,
yeah.
right, Ed Sullivan?
Absolutely.
I can prescribe to that myself,
All right,
but
right,
unfortunately,
right. Yours would be
you can
Barry
never know.
Manilow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get a nice get Casablanca or whatever it is, Caravan, whatever.
No,
What's
the
it called?
Copa
Copa.
All right.
Cabana.
You know how
Oh
many
my
times?
goodness.
Oh yeah.
the Casablanca. A weekend in New England. Oh, looks like we made it.
So we could talk stats too, but we won't get real crazy. But
Because I wanted to know that too.
we have that. So statistically, house will sell quicker,
Yeah.
right?
How much
Definitely.
quicker?
A lot quicker.
A lot quicker. Thank
A
you.
lot.
Yeah. And
sure
put
you
that
got a
down
number
for
down.
our notes.
I got
Let me
it.
see.
Real Estate House Party has quoted a lot quicker. Let's see. A lot quicker and for more money,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Actually, I probably do have some stats.
Yeah.
Another study showed that $2,000 on a staged house netted the seller a $31,000 increase
Wow.
in
I
sales
can
price.
definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Is that
We
what the
have
going
seen
rate is
we have
about
seen
$2,000?
ridiculous things over the summer. For a small property, for a vacant, it can
Imagine
start
that.
around there. Yep.
All right, here's some other stats then. Only 4% of the brokers interviewed said their staging had no impact. So in other words, every stager says it, should have it. 95% of stage houses you ask for quotes sell in 11 days less.
Wow.
Yeah, compared to non-stage house. Professionally staged houses sell for 17% more than other prices. So that's pretty good.
Now, are some real estate agents are actual stagers?
Yeah, some offices do do some of the staging themselves, but I actually even work with some offices that do some themselves. But then, I mean, if you're a real estate agent who's busy, there's no way
gotta
you
be
have
back out
time
there, right.
to do everything. So we
Right.
work with a lot of offices that do it to the point that they can, and then they say, "All right, we're in summer, spring season. You guys, handle it from here on out."
It's funny how the business has changed. When we started out, probably before you started, but this is how they would market a house. They would have a MLS book once a week on Tuesdays with every house being sold, and that was the marketing
Right.
for years and years and
Right.
years.
And then they all go on caravan.
Yeah,
And they'd all
everyone
go
just
in
drives
right.
around and visits all the houses.
Right,
They have
trip.
like
Yeah.
fires. and
That
they're
was
like,
it
oh
to the
no,
marketing.
they're not around. They're on caravan.
Yep.
Right. But now it seems like it's all packaged because most houses are seen for the first time online.
Online, yep.
So it's almost like they should call you as one of the first. They should call, other than us as closing attorneys,
Right.
they should probably call us because
You guys first to make sure everything, their I's are
Right.
dotted and their T's
we
are
always
crossed
talk
with the
about-
house.
Maybe we'll talk about that on our next show. But it seems like all the important contracts are signed, and then they call
Before
us.
they come to
It's
us.
Right.
not annoying.
It is
yeah.
very annoying.
Well,
It's like-
then they need our help getting
get 'em out of the problem.
what they've
Messes,
just signed.
yeah.
I mean,
so
think
I
about
always
it.
say,
They've already
don't
signed the
sign
listing.
anything.
They've already signed the listing agreement.
Yep.
They've already applied for the bank loan. They've already signed the offer.
And the offer is a binding contract.
Right.
Everyone should know that.
Everyone should know that. Maybe for our next show, we'll do
Yeah.
like our top 10 list or
Oh,
something
I
like
thought we
that.
were having fun on the next show.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, shucks.
No, we're having fun on this show.
I know.
Next show is all business.
Okay.
But it seems like now that it's completely morphed where they should be calling you first. You stage a house, and then you get the photographer in.
Yeah.
Because then it's going to be blasted all over social
All over
media.
the social media before anybody even
And they're
steps
saying
foot in the door.
statistically now, 99% of a buyer nowadays first sees that house online.
Yep. Everyone
Right.
gets those MLS listings from their agents.
Right.
And then they
Right.
see it right away whether or
Right,
not. I
right.
mean, they aren't even going to walk in if it doesn't check the boxes.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So they should see you, get it all staged,
Now,
decluttered.
so I probably know the answer to this, but I'm just going to ask it out loud. Why is why are the stats the way they are? Why does a house sell faster, 11 days faster?
Because
and why do they get more money?
Yeah, 98% of buyers don't have an imagination. So what you have to do is paint the picture for people in order to get the price that you want.
And
to
I
get
get it. Like as a regular person going in and looking at a property, if you're looking at a room and you're like, well, what in the heck am I going to do with this room? You've already given them the ideas, and all they have to do is go duplicate it, right?
Or insert their stuff that they have, or
that's
whatever.
what I mean.
Exactly.
They can look at your pictures and say, wow, like this is what I can do, and it'll look nice.
This is how I set it up. This is where the sofa goes, you know. Yeah.
Right.
And in your approach, you're taking that seller's house that is their view of a house.
Yeah.
We've always talked about this. We had a famous basketball player selling his house, and it took a while to get that house sold.
Sure.
Because the people went in, it was nice, it was decluttered, but it was not depersonalized. You go in, all you do is see the guy's trophies. And
it was very style specific.
Exactly. So no one could get around that saying, well, this doesn't really seem like my house. It seems like
that one person's
Kevin's house. Yeah, exactly.
So when the seller pays you, or whoever pays you to do the staging, you're actually doing the buyer a service, a big service that they actually don't even know you're doing for them. You're setting up their house for
Although
them.
a buyer should, as a caveat, should be careful on a heavily. We're not talking about
heavily staged house.
We're not
We've
talking
heard about that before.
Well, because you look past things you should be noticing.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah. It's about having you.
That would never happen at KLH staging.
No, it's
and then
not about
plus
hiding.
they're supposed to do a home inspection.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's why you take, you have to not be too emotional when you make those decisions and you walk through a house. You still need to sit on it for a minute. So you don't just lose it over
We have
the
about
pretty
1,000 more
sofa.
questions for Kim. I got one more. Well, a couple.
Yeah.
Another one.
We're probably out of time.
I know we're out of time, but do you actually,
I'll come back.
All right, you come back.
Usually we have to beg them to come back, and Kim just wants to come back.
It's fine. We're here.
You sure? All right, here's a question. Do you actually get, because we always run into this, where a broker doesn't want to get too involved and say,
sure,
you should do these repairs. Boom, 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 boom. Do you tell them at least cosmetically? Because at your stage, they're not asking you to do.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be a bad guy to a certain extent.
Yeah.
If a broker, I always have a conversation with a broker before going in and saying, are there any areas that you're really worried about that you want to make sure that I hone in on? Because sometimes you just has to come from the right person for someone to realize, yes, you need to paint the hot pink bathroom.
Right.
You just need to do it. And if the broker could say it till they turn blue in the face, but because
that's where that 2,000 comes in. For 2,000,
little
get the
things
painting
like that.
done.
Yes.
And it probably does increase it by 30, 31, or whatever.
And
proportionally.
everything you take off the next person's to-do list coming into the house is going to come back for you. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. Wow. I like that.
Yeah.
So if you had one or two tips you'd want to give her, because we have thousands of listeners.
Sure.
Right now.
Throughout the country.
And
who knows? Maybe in other countries too.
Right.
Because we're on iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're on YouTube.
Oh yeah, very good. Because we haven't told that. They're supposed to like us and all that and listen and download it.
We're all over Facebook and we don't need everyone's
So
approval.
for our thousands of people in the studio audience right now, what would couple tips you'd give them?
Couple tips. Well, first of all, if you're going to be selling your house, always have a home stager come through. First of all, they're going to give you the best information. I mean, if you're around us, give us a call. Otherwise,
what's your phone number in case they want to call you?
603-568-3404.
That's right. We talked about. You used to live in New Hampshire. Now
I used to, born and bred, but now I live in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Where did you grow up?
A little town called Bosquen.
Right.
Off exit 1793. Yeah.
She grew up in Massachusetts.
I grew up
and then
in
migrated.
Winchester, Mass, and now I'm a New Hampshire girl.
Oh,
That's
nice.
right.
Yeah,
And is
love
losing
Winchester.
her accent as we speak. So.
I drive cars.
I seem to just get worse and worse as time goes on.
You'll be talking like Boston people soon. So that's probably the best thing. Call a stager for us.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank
Great
you for joining us here on the Real Estate House Party.
Rick, just for your information, after the U.S., Canada enjoys your show, as does Sweden.
I told you guys it wasn't just the U.S.
Now, what if we have different staging tips if you live in Canada as opposed to the United States.
Well, you're going to have a welcome mat, and you're going to have little mats inside your door to put your notes.
And a caribou head on the wall.
Yeah, and like a bearskin rug and stuff like that.
You might live in an igloo, so there's a lot of differences.
Yeah,
all right. And I could tell you my Canadian.
We'll talk about that next time.
My Canadian law. We'll talk about that next time. A tidbit from Renee Carter.
What Canadian law?
Want me to tell you?
Yes.
All right. We'll leave with this one. So if you're around here, you get in an accident.
Yes.
And you say the the other car owner, sorry about that. They can use that against you in court because you're saying I'm sorry.
Well, I would imagine
guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine that may stand up in the United States too. If you're
no, it does in the United States, but in Canada.
Oh.
Because they say sorry about everything.
Oh,
sorry in A.
Gotcha. So
it doesn't have the same impact.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Sorry doesn't mean sorry.
That's
on that note,
that's our public service announcement tonight. We're just here to help all. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So never say sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, not sorry.
Never apologize.
Yep.
Especially if you're stubborn.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll talk about that on the next show.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us on the Real Estate House Party. Kim, that was great.
Yeah.
And I knew this was going to work out because of all our prep time.
Right.
Exactly.
Thank you for showing up so early, both of you.
Yes, no
Thank
problem.
you. I
Anytime.
appreciate that. Ooh, after exhausted. Thank you. Thanks for joining us on the Real Estate House Party. Please join us next week because we have a lot of information to go over on December 24th, the day before Christmas.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas
Lovely.
Eve. A lot of stuff to go over. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Wonderful.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.